Hello friends, today we are going to talk about a problem where we want to update a fragment based on activities that have happened in another fragment where both these fragments are part of the same view pager. Now as you can see, this is the application that I am working on. I have three tabs here. One is the search fragment, the cart fragment and the quick order fragment. Now the challenge is that as you can see in the cart fragment, I have one item here and the details are getting displayed here. Now if I search for an item here and add it again, say for example I search for Kellogg's and I add this item, yeah, so it's added to cart, but when I go to cart it does not show here. The reason this thing happens is that this is the way that ViewPager operates, is that when search is the current fragment which is on display, OS has already initialized or instantiated the cart fragment, and when I click on cart it has instantiated the quick order fragment. So when I'm in search, because the cart fragment is already instantiated, when I finally move to cart, the changes which I've done in search does not reflect here. So we are going to understand how we can bypass this kind of a problem. So what we do is we go to the fragment page adapter, which is the page adapter that I have created for managing my view pager. And what we are going to do is we are going to create a hash map where we are going to store the tags of all the fragments which are getting instantiated. As you can see here, the hash map has two components. One is the integer, and here we are going to save the position of the fragment. So in this particular example, the positions are 0, 1 and 2. So 0 for search, 1 for cart and 2 for quick order. So whenever the fragment gets instantiated for the first time, I'm going to move the tag of that particular fragment in this hash map and use this hash map later on to identify the current fragment. Then the next thing that we are doing is this is the part of the code which I had just commented out so that I could explain to you the problem. So we are going to override the instantiate item method, and in this what we are doing is we are just instantiating an item which are calling the super method, and then this is the only piece of code which is which we are override, which is basically saving the tag of that fragment into the hash map that we have created earlier. So the third piece of code that we have written is the get fragment method. Now get fragment method takes the position as the input. So the position would be a 0, 1 or a 2, and based on the position it would send back the tag of that particular fragment which has been instantiated earlier. And we are going to use this in the fragment activity, which is this piece of code. So the home screen is my fragment activity. Now earlier what I was doing is that on viewpager.set on page listener inside the on page selected method, I was just making this change in the action bar tab so that whenever I do a swipe, the action bar tab also gets changed accordingly. So this is what the piece of code was there. Now this is the piece of code that we are going to add here. So what we are doing is we are just initializing this fragment, and then what we are saying is that if the fragment, and we are using the get fragment method here, and what we are then doing is that if the argument 0, which is nothing but the position of the page which has been selected, if that happens to be 1 and this fragment is already instantiated, in which case the fragment will not be equal to null. If both these conditions are satisfied, we are calling the fragment.onResume method. For example, this argument 1 is nothing but my cart. What it will do is it will call the onResume method of my cart. So if I come here, I have also overridden the onResume method, and inside this I have put the code which is relevant to refreshing the data. Now it looks like a lot of code, but that is because that if you look at this my cart tab, it not only needs to update this list view, it also needs to update the summary bar on the top where I have displayed the number of items, whether shipping charges are there or not, and what is the total amount of the cart. So because I need to refresh this part as well, so the code looks big, but otherwise it is up to you how you want to put the code. or what exactly you want to handle in this part of the code. But whatever you do, if you just want to update the list view, you can just call refresh the array adapter and call the set adapter again, which is this part of the code. So it is up to you how you want to handle this piece. So now let's run this project. I'm going to go ahead and save all this. And let's have a look at the emulator. Now, as you can see, the search is the fragment which gets displayed by default. Now I come to cart. Notice that there are two items which are there in the cart, and if you see that the sum is a sum of 115 plus 142 plus 50, which is 307. This bar is getting refreshed. Now let's go back to search and let's try for another item. Yeah, and then from here I do a add to cart. Now when I go back to cart, as you can see that the item has got added here, and also this part of the code, which is the summary on top, the total amount and the item number of items have also got refreshed. So similarly, if you want to do the same thing for the other fragments, you can just change this argument to 0 or 2 or whatever is the number of the position for the fragment, and then accordingly you can call a method within the fragment, and you can handle the change in the data. Thank you for listening in. If you found this informative, please do press the like button and also do subscribe for more such informative sessions. Thank you.